What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Brendan here, and it is August 3rd, and we are headed up. It is October 3rd. You ever wish you had more middle fingers? That's the mood I'm in right now. Anyway, I'm on the hunt for inventory, and like always, I'm taking you along for the ride. Let's cut to the chase and get shopping. Totally fun find. We are in the thick of football season, both college and the NFL. The brand on this is Rock Concepts. When you grab this thing, and it's a snack bowl that plays the Fox theme song. Really cool, pretty cool piece. And it's real leather. It feels like real actual leather. When you grip it, it almost feels like a full size football. So this is a pretty interesting find. Pretty cool find. Works perfect. It's gonna sell in the $30 range. Might sit on it. And maybe it picks up during the playoffs or Super Bowl season. I don't really know, but there's around 20 or 30 of them listed right now that I could see, and about 20 sold. So it looks like it's a pretty good seller. It's a pretty consistent seller, and not an item that turns up that often. So I thought that was pretty fun. It's like, well, you know what? I should keep this when we're doing football or Super Bowl activities, but I'll be happy to sell it, $30, somewhere around there. And it's probably around 2 pounds to ship. So, $10, $12, $15 again, depending on where the buyer is located. And if I use Ground Advantage, my default is priority. I don't think it hurts me choosing priority as the default. I think people do appreciate getting their items quicker. And maybe one out of every 200 or 300 items that I sell, somebody will reach out and say, hey, can we make the shipping cheaper? I don't need it to get here fast. You don't need to use priority, but the majority of the time, priority seems to work for me. So I always charge shipping for my listings, for those of you that are unaware. And I love that thing. So hopefully that sells sooner than later, but I would not be surprised if it's sold in January. I definitely don't want to wait that long though. All right, what do we have there? It was like a vintage recipe box. That could have been cool. There's a bunch of just mixed use stuff. Lots of wall hanging things here. Holy Bible book, no Bible on the inside. This area tends to get just a bunch of random items. It's kind of fun. Lucky Raven, that's like a Halloween. That might be one of their Halloween replenishables or their impulse purchase items that the thrift stores like to put up front and maybe just got mixed in there. What else do we have here? It seems like birds are a little bit of a theme. Okay, we're going to move on. I'm bouncing around from store to store. This footage is not all in the same store, but this is going to be a real stretch here because it felt like it was a lighter day. At least that's the way it started off. Laurent Mazzone, he is a former DJ turned perfume jockey, if you will. And a lot of the bottles that he makes, not these samples, these are all samples, but a lot of the bottles that he makes are constructed and made to look like New York City architecture, which I don't think he's from that. I think he's either Italian or French. I think the name is Italian, but I'm gonna take all of those samples and list them for like $15 to $20 each. There were, I don't know, about 15 of them in there. Because I believe it's a French brand. It's probably not as popular here in the U.S., but I'm gonna take a chance. At worst, I'm out $5 if I can't sell any of them. But it is low risk for potentially high rewards. So we're gonna see what happens with those. I think this is an old school sprinkler. I'm not exactly sure. I'm pretty sure that it was like heavy. It was like heavy cast. I don't know. I should have looked it up. Wasn't really paying attention. It's like a chess game here. Might be one of those, one of those generic Amazon orders. This looked marble. I mean, it was in good shape. It's brandless though. I don't think I can use it. Lots of bags. This store in particular now is doing bundles of bags. I think these were marked, what are they, $8 each. I didn't spend a ton of time going through them, just taking a glance though. I don't think there's anything in here that makes sense to purchase for resale. So let's pass on that. Was no mark on that mug. Are you folks having success using Google Lens? I feel like Google Lens has been a huge part of me trying to find or look up items that I can't readily identify, such as that mug. Google Lens has been sort of a lifesaver for me. It's really And there are, I know there are plenty of times where it's like completely inaccurate and you almost can laugh at what the results are. But more often than not, Google Lens is working really, really well. It's a very important part of my reselling business. This sold really quickly. So BOLO for Bombay jewelry chests. This is really nice. It is 4 drawers, as you can see. They have it marked up to $12.99. I had it listed for $110, and there are plenty of solds that were in the 110 range that were either this exact style or very similar to it. Somebody came in with an offer really quickly out in California for $75, and I took that offer because I wanted to get it out the door fast, and so I took the quick money. Yes, I could have waited, and if you find them, do not hesitate to list them in the $100 range if you find some of them like that. I was very pleasantly surprised at how popular the Bombay jewelry chests are currently right now. I can't really tell you why that is, but good number of solds checked. So that's definitely one you want to add to your list. And it is not, if I recall, the first time I've sold a Bombay jewelry chest, but that was great to find. Sold it really quickly. And listen, I paid $13. I sold it for $75. I feel like you got to take that deal. So that is great. But lots of them in the $100 range, like I said before. All right, let's see if there's any interesting furniture pieces. There are almost everything in this area was marked $12.99. I think this person was in a hurry that day. Whoever was pricing was like $12.99, $12.99, $12.99, $12.99. Everything was $12.99. I think even this leather chair was marked $12.99. I took a look at it. I think it was just generic. What was the price on this? I can't see the sticker. Did I zoom in on it? I'm pretty sure it was $12.99. And okay, so this is a BOLO item that I was afraid to pick up, and here's why. It is a, as you can see right here, Now and Zen alarm clock. Definitely a BOLO. Keep your eye out for it. First it was marked, what was it marked? $9? It was marked $9, but the knock on this is sometimes the chime does not match up with when the clock hits the top of the hour. As far as I understood when I was doing research on it, it's just so cool looking. So that was one of the things that if I was going to take it home, I needed to test it in store, and I didn't have the batteries to do that. And this store is now saying that you can't return it if you can't return an electronic for money, you have to return it for store credit, which normally isn't a problem, but I'm just not going to mess with it because it's as low as $20 all the way up to like $70, $80 depending on the style, and that thing was marked $9. So it's really too much trouble for me at that point. If it's a little bit less out of pocket, maybe I would have thought twice. But keep your eye out for them. There's different styles. The wood comes in different colors. That one had a lower dollar dial, and the battery compartment was messed up. And the dial on the clock, if you could see, it was almost like a Japanese garden, how they manicure their gardens. That clock style changes, or the graphic changes depending on which Zen clock you find. So keep that in mind. But a good one, another good one to look for. So put the Bombay on your list, put the Zen clock on your list. Those are some good ones to pay attention to when you're out in the wild. I was aware of the Bombay, but I was not aware of the Zen clock. So hopefully if I can find one a little bit cheaper, it'll make a little bit more sense to bring one home and then try to test it out. So this clock here, I just sold a Philips clock that was like that, shaped like that, for just over $50. So I'm always looking for those types of radio sleep clocks. They make like sleep sounds, stuff like that. This has got a nice here, little lion head fountain. Okay, neat. It's another one I was afraid to mess with. I don't have the capacity to test this, and I didn't want to list it as is. Acura radio. I don't know what the style number is, but I looked it up. Actually, the model number is probably on that little ticket. But I looked it up, and the solds were good, but I have no way to test it, so I'm not going to mess with it. Speaking of the Philips, here it is right here. It was on the other side. So this is a like an LED. You plug it in, and it's almost like a sun clock, if you will. HF3650, I think, was the model number on it. These are amazing. Look for these, and plenty of them that sell for even more. Again, this is another one where I had it listed for $75. I sold it for $52, but it would have sold I had it listed for $70. Totally would have sold for $70 if I'd waited for the right buyer. but keep your eye out for these. These are great. And probably the third or the fourth one, and not the exact model number, but that I have sold in this price range, either this year or the last couple of years. So another one to add to the list. If you've never found one before, I'll be excited when you find it for the first time. What else we got? Was this Krups? What was this? Yeah, this was Krups, and I forgot to look it up. Looks like it might be brand new. Kind of awesome. Some of those brand new can go for a ton of money. This thing's been sitting here forever. That Wearing Pro waffle iron. That's like $100 bill. If it does work. But that thing was kind of shattered. So we're going to move over into the shoe section. Funny thing, I'm sourcing more shoes and I'm selling more shoes. Well, no kidding, right? I mean, I don't know if it's more of a focus or if I'm just getting lucky, or I don't know, the sales of shoes are starting to kick in, but it's part of the reason that I'm down. Actually, this is an insane number. I was running the numbers. So through October, I think I'll talk about this in another What Sold video coming up, but I'm down $11,000 in sales year over year with basically the same amount of inventory. That sucks. So a lot of that, though, is just a lack of shoe sales. So I've been hunting them more frequently, and I found a good pair right here. These Olakais, Mulan. I forget what we're going to look at the tag in a second. I don't remember. They're a men's size 10, leather, great looking. And this style is going to be good for, what does that say? Moloa. 10128 is the first part of the style number. Olakai is really feast or famine for me, though. It's like they sell in one season, and then in the other three, I can't move them to save my life. So it just depends. Like, I think I can get away with moving these in the next month or so. So those are, like I said, those will be good for those size 10s, probably around $35 to $40. I can't ship them under, they're going to be over 2 pounds. So, and like I said before, they'll go priority. Won't have a problem shipping them, but I think that might have been the only good pair. I don't remember, so I guess we're going to learn on the fly. That was the only good pair that I found. You're going to see a pair here shortly that even if they are real, I no longer pick up because I just simply cannot determine, even with what I believe is a pretty trained eye, I can't tell the difference between the fakes or the real ones. So you can see them hiding up above right here. Those are Yeezys. There were 2 pair in this store, and again, they feel authentic. They're on the heavier side. I think Yeezys, if I remember correctly, they're like a half size down or small from your regular size. But the last couple I've sent in have been sent back, and I think it's been over a year since I have sourced them. So I am done with Yeezys. I do not care what they are worth. I'm not going to go through the headache and have them fail authentication again because there's just no way to tell. And listen, I'm going to tell you something. eBay doesn't get it right all the time. Have any of you sent in, and I want to know in the comments, a pair of shoes to get authenticated only to, and for as close of a fact as you can. Blundstone, by the way, that's a good brand. These are destroyed. Blundstone, look for those for resale. I can't use those, obviously, but has anybody sent in a pair that you knew without a shadow of a doubt were real that got sent back? Let me know in the comments. I had a pair of Hoka boots pass authentication, I think 4 times. They were sold twice and then returned both times. And then I sold it a 3rd time, and the 3rd time they failed authentication. eBay fixed the error that they made, but they are not perfect by any means, that authentication program. So moving into Christmassy type of sourcing, this is a Barbie Christopher Radko. Not every single Christopher Radko ornament is going to make you a ton of money. So they got 5 on this, and I think I can sell it for between $25 and $30. So I'm going to pick it up. It'll sell in this next quarter. That's a plus. But if you see unless you're buying a bunch in bulk for a good price, there are some that just are not going to be worth your time, especially if those selling them to you understand what they think they have and then charge up accordingly, which happens a lot of the time. It's like, oh, this brand, we're just going to charge, X amount over what we would normally charge because it's this brand. But you do have to pay attention to those ornaments. So, but Radco's great hand blown glass ornaments. They're amazing. I still have a ton left in my personal collection. But Barbie, I think I'll move her for $30. So I'll take it. My kids might want to put that on the tree too. So maybe we will do, you guys do that where you buy something for a resale and it ends up as a decoration in your home. And then a couple months later it sells and you're like, well, there goes that. I do that all the time. We do that all the time. So it's like an ever-changing inventory of things in the living rooms and then the bedrooms and wherever else it is we're putting stuff. So maybe we'll throw her on the tree. What else do we have? Yeah. Looks a little thin on the bottoms. There's some paper there. Maybe I should have grabbed for personal use. This is a fleece frost blanket. Probably not worth anything. Pier 1. Penguin who was cool looking. Cheryl, what was that? Cheryl something. I didn't need. All right, next was an interesting find. I'm going to pick it up because it's only $3. This is a paper mache mask by an artist named Gina it's Truex. I don't know how you pronounce it. I couldn't find any information on her on the internet, but her masks are everywhere. They're on eBay, they're on Etsy. I've seen them in other marketplaces. This is a nice one. This I saw an exact comp sell for $35 for this cat mask, but she's got a bunch of different variations of paper mache masks. I just couldn't find any information on her. This is sort of right up my alley as I try to expand into other categories and learn a little bit more just in general for sourcing. So that was cool. $3 into 35. That would be great to sell that. I already have the photographs on. I don't have it listed quite yet, but it'll probably go up this evening. We are October 3rd when this was recorded. So we're kind of losing time for like the highest velocity sales of your Halloween items, but that's an evergreen category, so you can source it and sell it year round. But that was a cool mask. And then this was, I forget what the artist was on this. This was something that may have been a local artist. I looked it up. Her name was Linda. Was it Linda Robertson? But I didn't see anything again. This could have been just somebody local. Nothing doing there. You ever see an item and you're like, I wonder what this guy's story is. Look at this good looking fella all posed in that big wicker chair. That's the bolo, the thing he's sitting on. But I wonder what this guy's life is like. Wonder how old he is now. Wonder when that photograph was taken. What did you do? Where did you graduate school? What's your life like now? Did you start a family? And I have all these questions. Such a proper looking fella, but left him behind. And I would rather have the chair. Nothing going on that pottery. Anything else on this cart? This is a pretty stale rack. There's like a little camper. I think this was sold at Target. Flip it over, Brendan. Brendan, flip it over. Yeah, it had a Target sticker on it. But nothing doing there. And some dolls. I probably should have looked a little bit closer because some of these will creep up on you, no pun intended, and be valuable is what I'm getting at. But I'm assuming we have nothing here. But I don't know. There's some porcelain dolls that they'll surprise you. They got value, so don't be like me. Look everything up. I should have slowed down a little bit. Rossetti, that's not a bolo. That metal tray, nothing doing there. All right, let's check a rack before we finish. And every now and then the stores get, I don't know what it is. It's like I think they do pop-up. Some of the, at least if we're talking about Goodwill, they do pop-up stores, so to speak, in certain areas where they will like pre-load all of this stuff up and do just like a pop-up shop somewhere. And this sometimes they get the leftovers, or the stores get the leftovers donated because it was already donated. But I think you know what I'm getting at. If it doesn't sell at the pop-up, it hits the store, and I think this looks like some of that stuff, but I don't know any better. It's a lot of men's items here, but this Rel Wen, this is the one I want to show you because I just sold that Rel Wen that I found at the bins, but this one here is a Rel Wen loop back polo. I'm pretty certain that that's the style that this is called, and you'll see prices vary. I want to say they range from you know, 30 bucks all the way up to 70 pre-owned, but they are always consistently high for those polo shirts. So I got that photographed, and again, we'll get it listed tonight. I feel like I'm going to put it in the $50 range. I'll list it in the $50 range. I saw a comparable I thought was that sold for maybe around $50 or $60. That was that exact same color. But Relwen is still a fantastic brand, always higher priced. Do not be afraid to list high when you find that brand. The item that I found at the bins, that jacket, I think that sold between $150 and $200. I don't remember exactly, but it's a good brand and it sells high, so I'm going to list it probably high. And yeah, that was a great find on this rack. There's not really much else to pull out of here, but I'll take that, and I'll take the rest of that stuff. So I'm going to finish up this rack, and that's probably going to be it for me because I got things to do. We'll head home here in just a second, and if I missed something, you guys feel free to call it out. Yeah, I don't see anything else here. That is going to be it. Great find to end the trip. All right, y'all, that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to try to get to the bins in the next couple of days, but I have a birthday party to prepare for, so that's where my focus is. Again, I appreciate each and every one of you, and we'll see you in the next one.